Hello there, Shashi. How are you?
Fine, fine.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
Good. So this is our, I think, the first Insta live together. Hopefully not the
yeah,
last. Uh, let me let me take a few seconds to introduce you, Shashi.
yeah.
Firstly, let me start off by thanking you for joining us today. It's an honor to have you here, and we're really looking forward to the conversation. A lot of people have told us offline as well that they're looking forward to these conversations, and we've received a few questions as well. So all of that and more as we go through the program. And folks who are listening in or who are joining, who are going to, who are listening to this not on live, please meet Shashi. Shashi has spent a lifetime in pharma, Abbott and mostly, and then Pfizer. But what he's known for, what he's crafted for himself now is as a metabolic health coach. He's the founder of Metabolic Health India. So Shashi, I have this question for you. Pharma is the altar of modern medicine, right? And you worked there forever, and then you chose this metabolic health path, which really is grounded in the philosophy of food is thy medicine, the Hippocratic principle of food is thy medicine. So how did that happen? Do you see any, do these two converge somewhere?
See, the story began somewhere in end of September 2015 when I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and therein
I
began
see.
my journey. And within 3.5 4 months, I brought down my HbA1c from 7.2 to 5.2, and that was through adopting a low carbohydrate nutrition approach. So I joined a community called D Life India, where I met Anup Singh, who was promoting low carb. He is one of the pioneers of low carb in India. So
Yeah.
long back before anyone has ever heard of it, and he has actually Indianized it. And from there,
Uh-huh.
I learned everything. And it's almost now 8 years I'm on a low carb nutrition, or
Hmm.
specifically I'm on a little ketogenic range, the lower end of spectrum of ketogenic range, around 0.5 millimoles per liter. And
I see.
I also acquired during this journey. I also acquired a lot of certifications on low carb nutrition. And one day, finally, I thought that uh, I should now quit this job and start helping people. So I was already helping a lot of people, close family, friends. I never
Hmm.
used all my knowledge professionally. So there are a lot of success stories with me. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to use this knowledge, and I quit pharma. I was there in Abbott for 32 years, Pfizer for 1.5 years. So totally 35 years in all. There was one more company earlier. And I thought I'll start a different chapter now of from selling medicines to helping people get off medications. The same medicines which I used to sell, and I'm helping people get off, because more than 3 decades I was in diabetes and cardiovascular segment. So I understand the medications, the diabetes, the disease pattern very well, the mode of action, everything I know. So it is helping me immensely those pharma days.
A lot of people are interested in health. They like to read about health and understand. So, there is some knowledge that you get by reading, understanding, and maybe through even through experiences like yours when you were at pharma through selling medication. Uh, but how is that different from actually coaching some clients and helping them come off medication or change their health journey, right? What did you learn through that coaching experience that was insightful, that you didn't learn through reading from textbooks and listening to all these talks?
See, coaching, mentoring is something which we are done even in pharma with the team, because I was in sales. So the same
Okay,
thing almost applies here also. And
I see.
I don't think it's one and the same. Only the subject would be different. There's a selling involved, and here there's an aspect of health which is involved.
Hmm.
So while we learn a lot of things online, the when the actual coaching, the mentoring comes, then we find things a little different. That the
Hmm.
adoption to low carb is not very easy. There's a huge reluctance, and especially in Indian context, the dietary shift is going to be very difficult. So not all people will go for this. However, what I find is those
Hmm.
people who have done research on this, and
Hmm.
those people who have messed up themselves very
Huh.
solidly over the last few years, especially
Uh-huh.
during this pandemic, eating all junk foods they wanted and
Uh-huh.
messing up their blood sugar level, their blood pressure level, some even early CKD. So these are the
Hmm.
cases which I see. Maybe some neurological condition, maybe even some psychiatric condition. Like I had one bipolar case. So
Hmm.
so people who have messed up themselves and they are looking for an alternative solution is what
Hmm.
is what people come to me, and
Hmm.
I help them. So this this coaching journey is not very easy for both of us, for the
Yeah.
case and for me also. It's very
Yeah.
difficult.
Right.
But we'll have to keep on trying. We'll have to keep following up with people. We'll have to give them. Not only we have to give them solutions. Sometimes we have to get the solution from them, and that's where coaching comes in. We'll have to ask a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. That
In
is the.
mentoring, you say, in coaching, you ask a lot of questions, and you ask a lot of questions, you get a lot of insights. You find out what are the challenges, and how you can actually help
Yeah.
them.
I mean, coaching
Not
in
an easy job.
coaching, we believe that the answers are within us, right?
Yeah,
So it's the
yeah.
questions that will bring out the answers. Yeah. So, you mentioned that for Indian dietary patterns, this is a very hard job to do. And so I wanted to discuss with you the science of low carb eating. See, we have grown up with in India, with a rich carbohydrate diet. Like my mom, she's a medical professional and a South Indian and vegetarian. So she would say that, if you have rice and dal and sabji and curd, then that's a complete meal. And then she would say that if you mix two grains, then they learned it as first class protein. Right. So, and now when we think about carbohydrates, then I'm saying that, well, dal is 60% carbohydrate. So it's, how much protein are we getting? So it kind of challenges everything that we've grown up with. And it's a little bit hard to sort of understand and wrap our head around it. So can you talk a little bit about, specifically in the Indian context, how the science of low carb works and how we are adapting it?
See, let us understand something different. We all feel
Yeah.
that we are eating the same food as our forefathers. So things have changed. Things have changed. So grains are not the same grains where what it was earlier. For example, wheat. So the protein percentage has actually come down. Carbohydrate percentage, specifically the amylopectin, has increased, and then the adverse protein like gluten has increased. So that's
Hmm.
one thing. The way we used to cook earlier and now is totally different. Earlier, we used to cook rice in a vessel, drain off the starch. The starch was
Hmm.
fed to the cattle in the backyard, or it was used to starch your cotton clothes, or it was given to poor people. Now we use it in pressure cooker, cook it in pressure cooker, and the whole starch we are eating. Though we may have been on a little higher carbohydrate even earlier, but our activity
Hmm.
level was very high. So today we are
Hmm.
sedentary. Our cooking oil has changed. Our cooking methods have changed. We are now using a lot of processed food, which itself are
Hmm.
diabetogenic in nature. So things have
Hmm.
changed. We are not the same as our earlier. Secondly, if you see, while
Hmm.
we may say that our grandmother, grandfather did not have anything, India and Egypt were one of the earlier communities who knew about diabetes. Why? We have to think about that. So these are the communities which has adopted a very high carbohydrate diet, coupled with
Hmm.
the other controversial aspect, and that is the usage of seed oils, high in omega
Hmm.
6 and low in omega 3, which itself
Hmm.
is somewhat of diabetogenic nature. So that
Hmm.
to understand the whole thing has changed.
Hmm.
So we were always having diabetes. In fact, there was one study which I had tweeted some time back also that since the time we have shifted to agricultural based diet,
Hmm.
we have become more diabetogenic. Our lean body mass has has come down. We are all very
Hmm.
lean people. We don't have much muscle mass. So
Hmm.
all this have really compounded the thing. Couple now with some other additional factor like the huge amount of stress, the 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 disturbed pattern of sleeping, the use of
Yeah.
devices. So everything has been.
So you're saying basically that you may be eating the same roti that your grandfather and their grandfather ate, but the type of wheat has changed, and coupled with that, the type of activity that we do has changed. Our lifestyle is different. So the same food, it may look like the same diet, but it is not at all the same diet. That's what you're saying.
You can
Uh,
have the same food and go and walk 5-6 kilometers a day if you
huh,
want. But
hmm,
no one does that. Today we are sedentary.
huh. Yeah. So, is there's a lot of conversation about the low carb diet, and very often we hear this response that a new body does need some carbohydrate, right? And then whereas the low carb community says, well, it's not an essential macronutrient, body can make its own. So can you sort of comment about that, about what is your perspective on that?
See, let us look at this way that in any of the textbook, you will not find glucose, you will not find carbohydrate as an essential nutrient.
Mm-hmm.
You will not even find glucose as an essential nutrient because it's something your body can prepare. So we can, as well, your liver is there to make. So essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, essential micronutrients, minerals, and vitamins are there where we require. But it doesn't mean that you cannot eat carbohydrate. You can go ahead and eat, but you can eat as per your tolerance, is what I say. But essentially, we don't
Ah,
need, but you can go ahead and eat. So as long as you keep your carbohydrate somewhere around 100 grams or so, this is again which is relevant actually always been taught to me by my Guruji Amit Singh. So you make it 100 grams a day and you are
hmm,
safe.
hmm.
Yeah, and especially when you
So
have some
Shashi,
disorder.
the carbohydrate, especially with carbohydrate, I think there is also a concern that when you two types of concern, right? If you eliminate carbohydrate, then is that really a balanced diet? But secondly, if you eliminate it and now increase the level of protein, then we have seen many people who don't. I mean, firstly, myth or reality, there is fear of kidney loading with that, right? But secondly, also we've actually seen, and my own experience includes that, where our LDL cholesterol level goes up. Right? So, what is your prescription for your coachees?
Yeah. No, let us understand that I am not eliminating carbohydrates.
Yeah.
I am doing what is called as low carbohydrate diet, just lowering the threshold. That's all, to 100 grams. So it is not a no carbohydrate diet, and that is a different aspect. We have the
Hmm.
carnivore diet for that, which is used in a
Hmm.
lot of specific therapeutic approach. Now,
Hmm.
coming to proteins damaging kidney, there is not one single good reference in any textbook anywhere on PubMed which will say that protein damages kidney. On the contrary, I now have 3 cases with me where I have used a little higher protein than what they were taking. Let us
Hmm.
understand, higher protein than what they were taking. It was around 0.8 to 1 gram per kg body weight. And I have
Hmm.
reversed the creatinine from 2 to 0.87 in 3 month flat with a positive effect on the imaging of kidney. Well, the
Hmm.
earlier image shows that the kidney size was smaller and the newer size shows that kidney size is normal. One.
Hmm.
There was one more second case which came with stage 3 B kidney disease, raised creatinine around 1.8 or so with higher urea. In one single month of ketogenic diet, please mark this word, on ketogenic diet, this guy has
Hmm.
come to stage 1, where his
I see.
creatinine from 1.8, it has come to around 1.23 also. So it's a
Hmm.
pure
It seems.
ketogenic diet, which is higher in protein than they were taking earlier. But this protein recommendation is as per the kidney associations, what they were recommended.
Hmm.
So what we have is just myth. What is going on is just myth. It is all unscientific myth which is found in tabloids. That's all.
Okay. And can you now comment on the LDL?
Yeah. So see, regarding LDL, in low carbohydrate diet, usually LDL does not go up. LDL can go up on a ketogenic diet. But when you see, like, it is like seeing, it is like a tunnel vision, focusing only on LDL. You have to focus on all the other aspects. Your
Hmm.
blood sugar is normal.
Hmm.
Your HOMA-IR comes down. in association with the reduced insulin level. You
Hmm.
lose weight, you lose belly fat, you lose liver fat, you become more
Hmm.
energetic. If you punch in everything in an ASCVD scale, you will find that your risk has actually come down. ASCVD scale does not have LDL at all.
What is ASCVD scale?
Atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease scale. So there are various scales available. You can just go ahead and punch in. What I suggest is if anyone is afraid, take the values, punch in initially, and then after 3 months, you again punch in those values. You will find the risk has actually come down.
Hmm. So,
So it has various other factors. ASCVD has various factors like total cholesterol, triglyceride, HDL, your
mhm.
weight, whether you are a smoker, non-smoker, and do you have diabetes or hypertension, all these factors.
Okay. You were referring to keto diet. Keto diet is a stricter form of low carb diet, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
So,
So there we
uh,
keep the carbohydrate around 20 to 30 grams per day max. Some people respond even with 50, for example. But then
okay,
20 to 30 is the set limit.
got it. And this is the keto diet is when the body is you're you're making the body use ketones as fuel,
Yeah.
right? Instead of glucose. So, and we've heard also the argument that fasting actually gets you to that point faster. So,
Yeah.
how do you combine these two? Do you use fasting in your practice?
Yeah, I use fasting, and I think fasting is one of the fastest way to regain insulin sensitivity. So usually
I
I
see.
apply low carb diet initially, low carb
Mm-hmm.
or keto depending upon case to case. So keto I'll apply only in specific medical conditions where
Mm-hmm.
where people will have to be on a little lower carbohydrates, maybe CKD cases, maybe very
Mm-hmm.
severe diabetes which requires ketogenic diet, mental illness and neurological as I told you earlier. So during this time, your body starts using almost, it's more than 90% ketones. Even your
Hmm.
brain uses ketones to a good extent. Maybe some small component of glucose is there, which is made by the liver.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, there is, you have just now explained about a low carb diet and keto diet and how it does not load the kidney, how you've been able to reverse diabetes with that and other metabolic conditions, right? So, this is a low carb and keto philosophy that you've described. We've also seen, like, I mean, you only have to look on YouTube or elsewhere, right, to search for different things. It seems like like a lot of diets are, we come up with saying that, okay, this can reverse diet. And in particular, I want to talk to you about plant-based diet. So plant-based diets, I mean, there are many popular books, but one that I like is this one by Eric Adams called Healthy at Last. And he was highly diabetic, suddenly lost eyesight temporarily, and then moved to a vegan plant-based diet, and then reversed the whole thing in 3 to 4 months. And there are many stories like that, like Eric Adams, where people have moved to plant-based diets and have reversed. So it occurs to me that the plant-based diet is sort of on the other end of the spectrum of keto. So how do you, what is your perspective on plant-based diet and what it can do?
See, plant-based diet is not the other end of keto. It is the other end of carnivore. So you have carnivore and one and plant-based
I
in
see.
the other end. So
Okay.
keto is something in between because quite a number of my cases also are vegetarians who do keto diet. But then they
Oh,
take
okay.
but then they take dairy protein. So
Right.
ketogenic diet during doing only plant based will be difficult unless they take in processed stuff like plant based powders and all, which I really don't recommend. But plant based, see, let us understand one thing that animal based protein will come attached with fat, and plant based protein comes attached with carbohydrate, making ketogenic very difficult. So see, there are always success stories on either end. So
Mm-hmm.
it is up to people to catch whatever they want. But then, even in the plant-based diets, many people get success. The reason is most of these people have been on processed food, huge amount of processed food, especially in the Western world. You see, they have been on huge processed food, huge amount of sugar. The per capita consumption of sugar in US is the highest in US. So once they come of all these. So naturally, any diet they adopt, they are going to be successful in reducing anything. So while I don't advocate plant-based diet at all, but then it is up to people to decide what they want to do. They can do their own research, they can do trials and error, and they can
Yeah.
come about
Yeah.
whatever they want. Is my view.
Yeah, and in fact, what you're saying is there is a common denominator across all these diets, which is that they come off processed food. Right?
That is
They
true.
pay more attention to what they're eating, so the processed food goes out of the equation, and that itself leads to a lot of benefits.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's I think that has also been my observation across all the different interviews that I've done. So we talked about science of low carb, Shashi. I want to talk to you a little bit about the psychology of low carb. I mean, we have so much attachment to carbohydrate, like to our breads and cakes and rotis and chai ke saath biscuit and khakra and things like that, right? There are some rituals that have formed around it. When there are people around, we share these things. So it is more than food. It is a custom, it's a culture, it's a system. So it is very hard to sort of be socially active or be in company and then keep saying no to certain things. And then once you start taking, then you fall into it saying, "Ek kha liya, to now let me have three more of this." So it's sort of a mind game in some ways. So how have you found these? Have you found these diets to be sustainable? Do people for life go on to live like this? And then, if so, what are some of the ways in which they achieve that?
See, for me, it is a lifetime commitment. So it is now almost 8 years now.
For you
So
personally?
I was diagnosed in September 2015, and maybe from from October, mid October, I took up low carb. So it's almost now 8 years for me. Now, why people will adopt low carb? Let us understand. As we say in medical terms, there has to be a threat perception. So unless there is a threat perception, people will not take. So unless they have a disease, they have to solve something, they will not do. And again, this is a paradigm shift. It is a paradigm shift of what we think is normal. I always say that your normal diet is causing abnormalities like disease. So if a diet can remove this disease, then this is a normal diet, not the earlier diet which you are having. There will always be a problem. Yes, I agree. So we will have to sometimes look for alternatives, and we do look for alternatives. So we do have, like I prepare keto chocolates at home. Sometimes I prepare low carb bread. I don't advocate this daily, but yes, it's an indulgence once in a while. I have substitute for everything, almost everything.
You,
So
you,
I'm a
you, you don't advocate what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. You
I
don't
don't
advocate.
advocate all this fox food daily, but yes, once in a while we
I
can
see.
use. And during transition period, they can definitely use. All these products are useful during transition periods. So I do recommend, because there's a ritual. What do you have with tea? Especially some subset of population who come, they want this. They were having samosa, chai, biscuit. They want a lot of things. So yes, there are substitutes that are now available in the market for the transition period. So they can go ahead and have all this. At the same time, I do look out for other natural substitutes, like let us say they can go and have nuts. We have a lot of nuts available which they can have. So there are a lot of alternatives we can actually. It has to be tailor made to individual. We cannot say one. Some people want biscuit. Okay, then we will have something. Some people are ready to get away. Then you can have some alternative. Some people just get away with everything. Just have tea or coffee as you want. Maybe it may not be as they had earlier, but it's a paradigm shift. Just have tea, coffee, and get away with it. So everything depends. So yes, people do ask for substitute for roti also. So then now a lot of options are available. But while I don't recommend to everyone, but there are some people who want. So we have those options also.
Yeah. So, you mentioned that why do people adopt low carb? It is because something has hit them. There's some trigger, and they say, okay, now I want to change it. But there's this recent book by Peter Attia. I don't know if you've seen that. It's Outlive. And Peter Attia compares what he calls medicine 2.0 and medicine 3.0. Medicine 2.0 is about disease prevention, and medicine 3.0 is about healthful living, right? Not having to wait until diseases come. So it's a lot more preventive. So from that standpoint, like from preventing of diseases and from really having a long life and a healthful life, uh, people may want to choose the low carb path, right? So for such individuals, is there when you have is there a path? Is there any difference that you would recommend for people who are just saying, I want to make a change. I don't want to land up with broken bones when I'm 60 or 70.
See, these kind of people are very rare. I am yet to come across one single person, because in India, especially with the consumerism rising, everyone wants to enjoy life. YOLO, you only live once. So people think they can eat anything and just get away with that. So it's very difficult. But for those people who are really looking for a better life, step one is get off all this processed junk. Stop eating outside. Uninstall all the food apps. Start cooking at home. Add more protein. Change the cooking oil. Don't use this refined junk oil. Ghee, butter, coconut oil is what we recommend. Add more protein in your diet, especially the class 1 proteins. Add fasting. Prioritize sleep. Go and stand in the sun. Get sunlight. Minimize devices as much as possible. Very difficult, even for me, this statement, but as much as possible is what I can say. So these are the few things these are the take home points they can do.
That was a long list, Shashi, not a few things.
It has to be, because health is not doesn't depend upon single factor.
So tell us about some of the you said class 1 protein. So tell us what does a day look like for a low carb person, for somebody who
See,
eats meat, somebody who's
for something
vegetarian,
like me,
and
yeah.
sorry,
See,
just to finish the point, somebody who eats meat, vegetarian, but also I don't know if you can answer that, but somebody who's not who's on a plant-based diet.
I'm yet to take any case of plant-based diet, but let me add everything. Okay. So typically what we do is reduce the carbohydrate intake, reduce the grain intake, get off sugar,
Sugar
or reduce
meaning refined
drastically
sugar.
everything as a low carb. Let me tell you, as a low carb. So typically I will have 2 meals a day, no multiple meals, just 2 meals a day. Do intermittent fasting, do 24-hour fasting, add a lot of protein. Your dish has to be primarily protein. 50-60% has to be protein. So it can be in form of meat, fish, eggs, and it can be in form of dairy protein like paneer, curd, and cheese for vegetarians. So for vegans, of course. So while I don't recommend, they may have maybe tofu or something they can have, but I really don't recommend all those plant-based powders and all, because a lot of controversy on whether they have, how far is their absorption. I don't know. So from my point of view, yeah, the other things can be fillers. Veggies can be fillers. Nuts can be there. So veggies, nuts, seeds, maybe they can be there. So that is how we create this food environment.
So basically, the two things there: fasting, and then when we do eat, there's a lot of protein on the plate, and protein is of course meat, fish, eggs, but dairy based like paneer and curd. And for plant based, there are alternatives like tofu, etc. But what about dals? Do you What kind of
People have
protein
can
is it?
yeah. So people see those dal proteins are all, they are all poor class proteins, but people can go ahead and have, if they don't have blood sugar issue, they can go ahead and have. Even if they have blood sugar issue, depending upon the extent of metabolic damage, they can have some. So all those lentils, pulses they can have in an administered quantity is what I can say.
Okay.
So see,
Okay.
some of my cases even have some small quantity of, let us say, rice, or even small quantity of millets. I am okay with this, as long as the blood sugar responses are fantastic or good.
Okay.
So I keep some
What would be?
comfort food for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Comfort food is essential. So on that note, what are some of the common replacements, Shashi? Like if I like to have sugar in my chai and I don't want to get rid of it quickly, if I like khakra or that mari or glucose biscuit with my chai to dip it in, like so what are some common replacements?
See, for sweetener, I'll always recommend stevia.
Stevia,
So
okay.
my personal favorite is stevia, and I've been using it for last almost 8 years now. So
Hmm.
since the
Hmm.
time I was diagnosed, I've been using it. It's quite safe and quite okay. Nothing has happened at all. And
Hmm.
okay, for all those now, a lot of alternatives are also available. What you have mentioned, those biscuits or cookies or kakras, there are a lot of brands available. While I don't outright recommend them, but they're very good for transition, is what I say. So I
Hmm.
really don't mind. Some people can prepare at home also with almond flour, coconut flour, and a lot of people are also doing it. So they
Yeah. So we had,
can be.
okay. But yeah, so we were, when we were curating the healthy low carb variants, we were looking at low carb granola and low carb, I mean, almond flour cookies, and there are sometimes millet based crackers that are also good replacements. And we have a big festive season coming up. Like Rakhi is around the corner, and then it starts off until and goes until Diwali. And obviously, people, it's a very big social event, right? People indulge in mithai, and that's sort of become staple. So, are there any creative ways, in like you personally, right? How do you deal with this? Going to your sister's house or going to
See,
visit
personally,
relatives?
now everyone knows what I am. So I don't get disturbed. I am little very strict about it. So I
Okay.
might take a small quantity, which is okay. Now, after following a very strict diet for so long, it is okay. But then there are a lot of alternative options. Not
Hmm.
that I don't use. So, 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 so if it is a celebration, I do order sometimes keto cake also, something which has been tried and tested by. And
I
maybe
see.
and maybe if there's a everyone's a diabetic in the family also. So sometime I might order some keto cookies also. Some good
Hmm.
brands I know I've ordered. So that people can enjoy and people cannot, need not be deprived of this. But then
Hmm.
paradoxically, you see, in this country there is a festival every month. So that some of the other things will come. Festival will
Yeah.
come, Shaman Mena will come, holiday season will come, New Year will come. So it's always there. So somewhere we'll have to, if someone is having some issue, they will have to adopt this. But then a lot of options are available, is what I can say now. So you can as well do it. Even for that
Yeah.
matter, even keto low carb ice creams are also available and good
That's
quality.
right. Yeah.
So very often I test everything. I test the blood sugar and I do even ketone testing also. So whether it is a
Oh,
breath
okay.
ketone or blood ketone or even urine ketone, whatever it is. So sometimes some of the ready foods which I order, I do the testing. So I do the
I
testing
see.
before and after. So
You're
some of the brands I know
on
very well
yourself?
and I recommend on myself. I tested on myself.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, you check how your blood sugar is responding
Yeah.
to that.
And the same
Okay.
things
Very
I
good.
recommend to my cases also.
Okay. Great. Okay. So, Shashi, now I'm moving to this a fun round to really test test you. So this is the rapid fire round. It's
Yeah.
going to be a fun rapid fire round. Uh, so you can not take more than 2 seconds to answer. Okay.
2 seconds. Okay. Very tough.
Okay. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Usually hill station.
Okay. Okay. Darjeeling or someplace like that?
Anything, it can be nearby. It can be Matharan. It can be Lonavala. Yes, of course. I've gone to Darjeeling, Shimla, everything.
Okay. Good. Good. And what do you prefer, sweet or savory items? Don't say
I
protein,
prefer
please.
both. So usually prefer either one, but I prefer both. I like both.
Good. Like food. Mountains or sea? I think you already said.
Mountain, mountain.
Yeah,
I
hill station.
that are here.
Okay. Mathematics or chemistry?
Chemistry. I'm a chemistry grad.
Of course, being from pharma, you should have guessed. Who's your role model? Do you have a role model?
I think we all have different role models in our life. So currently, my role model is my Guruji Anup Singh, from whom I learned everything. So
Singh.
he
Oh,
he's the he's the he's the pioneer of low carb in India, I can say. When no one knew
ah,
what low carb was, he was the one who formulated everything, and we have just copied him. That's all.
Thank you, Anup, for creating that movement. I think if you're listening, or if you're here, or if you're listening later.
I don't think
Uh,
he's here now.
okay. What's your preference, money or fame?
Same.
Fame. Okay. Not surprised. What's your preferred mode of uh, consuming information? Reading or listening?
I'm a voracious reader.
Voracious reader. Okay. So actually books and or Kindle or something. Awesome. Amazing. And if you could coach one person, if you could pick one person to coach, who would that be?
Very difficult. I don't have any specific person to think, frankly.
Huh.
I, I cannot
Like, if
think
you
of any.
is there a celebrity that you look at and said, boy, if I could coach that person, they would look so much
No, no,
better.
I'm not a celebrity chaser.
You yourself
I'm
have a
very happy. I'm very happy helping those people, who really want to be helped. Rather than, I'm not a celebrity chaser, friend.
okay. Okay, got it. All right, Anu. With that, I think we're ready to take some questions. Let me see if we have any. We had some previously. Oops. Let's see. People are
I'm also
thanking you,
thinking
saying you're iconic and things like that.
that
Wonderful.
there is no question. So people can ask some question if they want.
Yeah, I have. People had sent some. Let me ask you in our I in an offline mode. Okay, here. Let me get started here while
Yeah.
people come up with this. Any questions here? Does life on this diet mean constantly counting calories? How to get out of that thought process?
So this is the best part. No counting calories. Just
Okay,
get off the calorie counting bandwagon.
and that's because we're looking at you know, am I right?
I I lost the signal. Can you repeat?
Sorry, that's because we're looking at what is on the plate and not how much. No,
Huh, huh.
quantity is not.
So let me put it this way. I count how much protein is there.
Yeah, okay.
I look at the protein source. So I think let me rephrase that my answer.
Okay. If you have any endocrine disorder, is this diet advisable? And I'll extend that. Is there any contraindication for this type of diet?
See, uh, low carbohydrate diet is something which anyone can do. There would be contraindication for, let us say, ketogenic diet only if if there's a fat metabolism disorder or something. So I think that's where, so there are some issues in fat metabolism during someone. Maybe the metabolism, carnitine deficiency and all is there. So I think those things will be generally found during childhood. But I think
Right.
anyone can see, when you say low carb, you can just lower whatever carbohydrate you can and possible is what I can say. So you don't require anything fancy for that.
Okay. Understand.
If people are
Um,
consuming 200, 300 grams of carbohydrate, even if they reduce by 50 or 100, it will be a big win for them.
right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the somebody here, Sahai, I think, says, Shashikant, can you give out some tips that may make intermittent fasting easier for those who want to start doing it?
Yeah. Uh, uh, People will not be used to intermittent fasting simply because on a high carb diet we remain frequently hunger will be there. So what you
Hmm.
have to do is for a few weeks, please go on a higher protein diet. Once you go on a higher protein diet, automatically the hunger signals gets normalized, and then you try little fasting. Like you try 2 meals a day. Don't bother about all those traditional 16, 8 and all. Just do 2 meals a day, whatever you can. Maybe even if it is 12 hour, it is okay. And in between, keep filling up yourself with non-caloric or low-caloric drink, maybe like lemon juice,
Hmm.
green tea, black coffee, black tea. You can go ahead and have a lot of salt water. So once your hunger signals are all controlled, you're on a little higher protein, then you can go for a little extended fasting if it is possible, like 16/8.
Okay.
then maybe you can do even 24 or 36 or 48 hour fasting. But first, increase the protein percentage, is what I can say.
Yeah, so that increases satiety if you're
Yeah.
having a lot of protein, and then you can always have some sort of warm water, green tea, just to keep
Have
the
salt
mouth
water,
feeling good.
lemon water, lot of lemon water, salt water. You can go ahead and have that also.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Shashi. And Right to Say says on an LCHF diet for vegetarians, paneer, hunker, etc., would you recommend fibers in the form of vegetables?
Yeah, I recommend. I recommend fiber. So in terms of vegetables, in terms of nuts, some roasted seeds and all you can have. So go ahead and have. So in my diet plan, I also include a column where I recommend. I know I note down the fiber also, so that people are little satisfied with whatever they want.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ira Sahai, for helping me read your name correctly. I have one more question here offline, which is. I have been on a low carb diet, but my weight is fluctuating again. Why is this happening?
You'll have to find what is called as the carb creep. You will have to be, once we achieve a goal and then we slightly keep adding little bit more carbohydrate, and the
Hmm.
carb creep happens, and we'll have to little note down. So that's
Carb
how it is.
creep. Okay. Okay. So maybe it's not as low carb as we are
As
imagining it to be.
Yeah, and
Okay.
somewhere we
Got
have to understand that prior to low carb, if they were on a higher weight and if they lost weight, there is a metabolic issue. There's an
it.
issue
Hmm.
of insulin resistance. You'll have to
Hmm.
normalize that and keep it
Hmm.
normalized, is
Hmm.
what I can say.
Yeah. Savvy Priya is asking, a lot of people fear proteins. How to convince them that protein is good for them?
In this country, we are not even taking the recommended dietary allowance of protein. The RDA is 0.8 gram per kg body weight. In this country, we are averaging only around, let us say, 25-30 grams, all protein put together. Forget the first class, second class. The RDA
I,
is 0.8
I
gram per kg body weight of first class protein.
Yeah, I read a study which says Indians get about point 3 to zero point 0.6 grams per kilogram.
So it
Yeah,
is very pathetic. Even if
highly
they go
protein
on a
deficient.
even if they go on a the RDA recommendation itself is high protein in our country.
Hmm.
Forget that high protein of 1 gram or 1.5 gram or 2 gram per kg body weight. So I am on a almost 1.8 gram per kg body weight for so many years. My
Hmm.
kidneys are functioning excellently.
Okay. Poshini A, she wants to know, or he wants to know, how to avoid eating high carbs in social events. I think we touched upon this a little bit.
But I can explain it a different way. If you're going to an event, please have some protein at home and then go there. Because if you're going to go on an empty stomach, you're going to finish off everything there. So don't do that. Have some protein so that you are less hungry. And then when you go to social event, choose something which is a little higher protein and little higher fiber. Maybe go for a lot of veggies. And even if it is chole rajma, I don't mind. It does have some protein. So choose those. Have Avoid all those refined carbohydrate, refined grains, please avoid. So choose a small portion of other carbohydrate and just wiggle out of your way.
I actually find that at social events, having a glass of like lemon soda or something is just enough. Nobody's really watching whether you're eating or not, so then you can keep sipping and
Then the
it serves
situation
the job.
I said was when the extreme case, when people surround you, when they know that you are doing low carb, people will surround you and make you eat what they want, not what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. Savvy Priya also wants to know, can you also talk about the importance of fats?
See, we cannot essential fatty acid itself mentioned that we require as humans, we require fat. So fats are very, very essential, crucial for us. Especially when we go low carb, fat becomes the
Yeah.
source of energy. So, so we have a lot of fat in our brain. Each cell contains fat. Hormones are made up of fat. So fat is very, very important. So especially the right kind of fat. The right kind of fat which is really we require is a lot of animal fats and omega 3, of course, among the polyunsaturated fatty acid. We require a good amount of omega 3 fatty acid. So when I say animal fat, the primary question will become is what should we take? So for vegetarians, yes, it is ghee and butter are animal fats.
Hmm.
So go ahead and have them. Don't drink them. Use it for cooking. Use it adequately. Take as much fat which comes naturally from the food is what I say.
Okay. Okay. Indian carnivore. Best way to incorporate protein for kids, especially vegetarian. Assume what is the best way to incorporate protein for kids, especially vegetarian?
Kids are not very finicky unlike grown ups. So you should start incorporating good protein, whatever you can.
Hmm.
Please give them eggs. Even vegetarians don't mind giving eggs to kids. So please go ahead and give them eggs. Introduce paneer, introduce cheese, introduce dahi to them. Introduce meat, fish, whatever possible as per your cultural preferences. What I say. So kids will not refuse. They like cheese a lot. So you can give them cheese also. So
Okay.
put in a habit of kids taking more protein right from the younger days. And they require a
Oh.
lot of protein, unlike what we think.
Oh, I see. More than adults?
Yeah, more than adults. That's the growth phase. They are going to require more protein. We don't realize this.
So
So
it's
go ahead
not
and
one
give them.
gram per kg.
It,
It would be
it is
something more.
higher. You will see Dr. Bernstein, our other type 1 guru, he recommends very high protein, as much as even 3 gram per kg body weight is what he recommends.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. I'll take two more questions, Shashi. We're coming up on the end of the our time. This is Sanjay. It says they say, what is the one thing that you would ban from the Indian kitchen?
What, what is the one thing which I
Which you would ban from the Indian kitchen?
banned from Indian kitchen? Maida.
I would pick the same, very same thing. That is a that is much worse than sugar from a kitchen standpoint. Uh, okay, great. Indian carnivore. You always speak of fats first. What would be the best fats? I think you just alluded to that. I mean, you just responded to that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, that's all. Ghee, butter, tallow. If someone is
Tallow.
having, yeah, if someone is having
In
non-veg food,
India?
they can go ahead and use
In
tallow.
India,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it?
yeah. The people do use.
I see. Okay. Okay. Great. One more question I'll take because once we repeated, Poshini says, how long should we fast? And that's the last question.
How long should we fast?
Yeah.
See, as much as possible for you to do. And especially for a lean person like me, I cannot fast too much. I feel
Hmm.
extreme. So you can fast as per how you are comfortable. So
I
at
see.
least do 24 hours. 24 to 36 hours is something which I find most people can easily do, even for a lean person like me.
I
So
see.
yeah, if someone is having a lot of body fat, they can do excellent fasting. They can do even 48 hours or more also. Now, I am not an expert in fasting, so maybe someone who is an expert in fasting, so they
Hmm.
can actually guide them much better than me.
Okay. Okay. Good. Well, with that, we will, I think, stop this session here, Shashi. So it's been very insightful having you here and talk to us about low carbohydrate diet and the science and the psychology of it. And I found it particularly interesting that you also incorporated things like sleep that we have to take care of in the overall health journey that we are undertaking. And I hope you'll join us back here again to talk to us about these things. As you know, we're trying to demystify what it means to be healthy and how to whatever paths people may be on, how to start their journey. So that's our goal here. So thank you for joining and sharing all of these. Any closing comments from you?
Yeah, Raj, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to share my thoughts on the low carb, demystifying the importance of protein in our life. So the final thing is I always say that protein is the king, fat fat is the queen, and the carbohydrates are the paupers or subjects. You keep that amount only as per what you need. Don't keep too much of them. So this is my final statement.
Yeah. We'll change that a little, Shashi. We'll say protein is the queen. And fat is also the queen. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And thanks, folks.